Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Apocalypticast. My name is Josh Demi,
And I am Chris Vlamakis.
and we are reviewing Eight Crazy Nights tonight. Um, really excited. If all goes well, we're recording this a little bit earlier than we normally would, but this should come out the same weekend
Yeah,
that Hanukkah
it's currently
starts.
6 a.m. right now.
6 a.m. in August.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just going to be the two of us this time,
Yeah. Everybody else just kind of bowed out.
which is it's a shame. It's a damn shame. Um as a little precursor for this, one of our reasonings for choosing to rewatch and review this movie was we were trying to figure out, and we came to the conclusion there isn't a lot of just Hanukkah movies out there.
Yeah, there's not many at
Um,
all. We wanted to do a holiday movie, but not like a Christmas movie.
yeah, and so when we were looking up for Hanukkah and stuff like that, like the first one was like Eight Crazy Nights, and we're like, yeah, we'll watch. Like this one definitely is one that a lot of people know. It's been out there, and also it's like it's different because it's an adult animation, so it's like,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like it's animated like a Disney movie, like a Bloom era animation.
Oh
Um,
yeah, definitely, definitely. And with that, you want to start talking? Do you want to just talk about the animation first?
yeah, let's just jump right into it. Hold
Yeah,
on, you
yeah.
guys might be hearing a cat. Um, he's very loud
I did
tonight.
hear a cat. Our special guest tonight,
Chuck.
Josh's cat.
Yeah, no,
Um,
let's
for,
let's jump into it.
yeah, this
For a
movie came out in 2002. Just for everyone to for a frame of reference.
Yep, it's an Adam Sandler movie, and he basically had like carte blanche to do whatever the hell he wanted. It was really exciting rewatching this the other night. It was Chloe's first time watching it, um, and I just
Yeah, when I was watching it with Zach and Elena, it was their first time, and it had been so long since I had seen it. There were a lot of jokes that hit me, like I was like, "Oh crap, I forgot about that," and then they hit me like it was the first time again.
I forgot how much I thoroughly just enjoy this movie.
hmm
Um,
And animation wise, I think the animation is actually really good. I think there's a lot of
so the drawing is really good.
yeah,
Where the animation kind of falters is the frame rate isn't consistent.
that's true. That's
Um,
something I was going to like. There's a lot of scenes where it's just like, why is the frame rate so
all of a sudden it gets
wonky?
kind of jumpy, like
Yeah,
when they're singing "Bum Bitty 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 Bum." Um,
yeah, and
yeah,
like
and it zooms out and it shows everybody. When it's close up on people, they don't look like they're at a lower frame rate, but when it shows everybody, it's like 10 frames a second is what it looks like.
hmm
But yeah, let's jump in. We could do our normal thing. We could start with theme. This one has a pretty good one. It's feeling holiday cheer even when you don't feel like you deserve holiday
Yeah,
cheer.
like it kind of is almost in this in a sort of a sense of like what a lot of holiday movies are, specifically Christmas movies, where like you get to meet the main character or one of the main characters is a Scrooge, or like in a sense, where
Yeah.
Davy is just a complete and utter like he's a just a degenerate. He's an asshole. He steals things. He's awful to
Yeah,
everyone,
he's a
and
piece
like
of shit.
yeah, like obviously it goes down the route where it's like it shows this genuine like person, even though it's really really goofy through like Whitey and Eleanor and like how and all these other people who are very much looking out for each other. It also shows kind of like the tragic backstory that like broke him 20 years earlier,
Yeah.
and I, I can relate in a sense to that. I can honestly like I've had loss in my life, and it's hard to not like go down the path.
Yeah.
Sometimes the path of least resistance is the path where like, yeah, maybe you're drinking yourself into a coma every
hmm
night. Maybe you just really just stop. Like if you stop giving a shit about people, because if you gave a shit, that means they have a chance of maybe breaking your heart again or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and you get to see that. I also like. and this was something that was kind of in the Christmas movies of the time was, yeah, Davy's the asshole, Davy's the piece of shit, and everybody knows it. But if you look at the townspeople, everybody except for Whitey, Eleanor, and Jennifer and Benjamin, everybody's a piece of shit. They all treat Whitey
Yeah,
like absolute
the
garbage.
whole like the town of Dukesbury is like kind of all looking out for
It
themselves.
should
Like,
be called the
e-
town of Dixbury.
yeah, it really is. It's interesting to look at it because like they're all assholes in their own way. Like even the mayor, like he's really professional and he's like courteous of certain things. But like when he has the whole conversation with Whitey, you can tell that he's like, it could be you, it could be me, and I'm like, that this guy is not thinking that Whitey even has a chance
Oh yeah,
to win the patch.
yeah. Well, I remember being a kid and watching it because I was what 10 when this came out. Um, Being a kid and watching it and being like, "Oh, he's the bad guy. The mayor is the bad guy." As an adult,
It
as
in
an
a
adult, I
sense, yeah.
watched it and I was like, "No, Davy's the bad guy."
Yeah, yeah, I can, Dave, like, and honestly, they don't pull a lot of punches. Like, they don't, like, obviously, they want you to feel bad for him and what happened to him, but, like, even with the narrator, like, Rob Schneider being the narrator is perfect for for this
Yeah,
thing. And it's just like, and the narrator, even though it's his job to break the fourth wall, he broke the fourth wall in different ways where he's just like, wow, that was kind of a mess up thing for Davey to do. Like he's
yeah,
actually not just narrating, but he's actually like, man, that was fucked up. Like
yeah.
like
No, it feels a lot less like he's just narrating a story and a lot more like he's sitting on the couch next to you, telling you about this story as you're seeing it. Um,
yeah, definitely.
I generally take the form of that person when I'm watching movies with people, and so I enjoy this narrator, even though I can imagine people like me being very annoying to other
Yeah,
people.
but with that, that all fits within like yeah the holiday season theme in
Uh
a
huh.
sense. It all fits because like you look at some of the most iconic holiday movies. They have a narrator. They have a guy who is like bah humbug
Yep.
kind of person. They have you have a person who sometimes like both young and old in the form of Jennifer and in Whitey, who are people who are all for the holidays, all genuinely good people that have to not even necessarily have to deal. They want to deal with Davy, but it's really hard because he makes it so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are people who see the best in the people who are trying to show the worst.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um.
definitely.
Yeah. So theme, general holiday movie. It's got that bah humbug spirit. Um.
Yeah.
Came out 2 years after Jim Carrey's Grinch. And so it kind of fits. I mean, that's what I was saying when it was like showing the townspeople being assholes too, because I don't know.
Yeah,
I
that
think
you're
Jim
right cuz
Carrey's Grinch just kind of started something for about 5 years. There was every Christmas there was a movie where everybody but one dude was a complete and total dick.
yeah, it kind of yeah, I didn't I had forgotten about that even though Jim Carrey's The Grinch is like one of my favorite Christmas movies. Um that obviously showing that side and showing like what kind of a general like if you stop like sure you have your friends that you're nice to and everything, but if you're
Hmm.
like if you stop caring for the rest of the world, what kind of ripple effect, what kind of impact does that have?
Yeah, I think we've kind of like segued pretty nicely here into talking about some of the story and the writing. Um,
Yeah,
the jokes are a mile a fucking minute. Like,
yeah, it's definitely like with the way the story's written with the jokes, like if you like it's very much in the style of Adam Sandler. Like
yeah,
obviously it like it very much has his style written all over it. Like if it was like you could almost see most of this movie in live action if you close your eyes.
oh yeah.
Like yeah,
Well,
like there's a lot of it.
especially since Davy looks like they
Yeah, it's
animated him
100.
like
Well, also
Adam
like
Sandler.
they make him wear clothes or like Adam Sandler wore in a lot of his like late 90s early
Yeah,
2000 movies. Also he's fucking he uh like is interested in basketball and hockey and in every Adam Sandler movie his character is always interested in basketball and hockey
yep,
and it's like it's very much a character where it's like Yeah, he's Davy Stone, but he's also just like kind of just an asshole version of Adam Sandler.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, no, those jokes, they are just, they kept coming and they didn't get old. Which is something that Adam Sandler in his prime was very good at doing. Um,
Yeah,
he would just, if he was helping writing or the people that he would surround himself with to do the writing, they were always just on point, never bringing up jokes that felt dated or overused. Nowadays, that's different. Um,
yeah, definitely. I feel like yeah, you're right. The jokes themselves, it like those same jokes could very much be written a movie that was 20 years earlier or now.
yeah,
Like they it very much felt like none of them were 100 were like oh well we're referencing the early 2000s, we're referencing this and this, except for me like there were a couple parts in it obviously, but nothing too crazy.
yeah.
For me, there were a few times that the jokes were a little bit too much of a gross out gag humor.
Is it? Are you
Um,
talking about the deer?
the deer with the shit,
The fucking
like,
deer.
maybe like them crapping themselves, fine, whatever. But the fact that like they like for two or three different instances they cut to the deer with like basically like shit filled gums and teeth.
They only
It,
cut to the deer with shit-filled gums once, and it's after they
I
lick
mean,
Whitey clean.
it's after that, and then there was at least one other time.
No, there's only the two poop jokes with the deer. There's
Hmm.
them licking Whitey clean, and then them shitting themselves after the mayor makes his joke. And
Yeah,
I
there
feel
was that.
that the joke when the mayor makes the joke and everybody overreacts, putting the deer into that was a bit too much.
Yes, yeah. The joke that joke itself, I think, is funny. Like
Mm-hmm.
the fact where they're just like they're laughing, but but he took it to the new level of like you always see people, well not always, but a lot of times you see a person in power and they make a joke and everybody else is like, well we're going to
We're going to laugh
ham it
because
up.
they have the power, and so we need to
Yeah,
make them
we
feel
want to
good.
make him feel good. Yeah, and that just took that joke and just cranked it to 11, and everyone's just like freaking out, ripping shirts, just laughing and
Yeah,
everything like that. And I thought that particular was funny, but it was marred a little bit. But yeah, I think the deer in that was a little bit much.
yeah,
But really, overall, like that was my only real qualms with the comedy of the piece. Like I think it's really funny that they like it had to be a purposefully done thing to put Rob Schneider as the Chinese owner of the restaurant and have a purposefully awful Chinese accent.
yeah.
Like very much you listen to that I'm like, "Oh, Rob, you skank you." Like it wasn't even a real attempt.
No, it's a very poor. Um,
Yeah, but I think
yeah,
that was purposefully done to be like what you just so you know cuz like it's very tongue in cheek like this is Rob Schneider
yeah,
cuz like Rob Schneider and like a lot of other cast members in this movie are people that are in so many of Adam Sandler's movies that like by this point at this point even almost 20 years ago it's very tongue in cheek like yeah if Adam Sandler's doing a movie expect some of this some if not all of these this list of names to
yeah,
be part of it.
yeah. Well, and like, really, the only way besides everything that they had already done to show that Rob Snyder was a part of this movie is they could have just had him say his catchphrase from the Adam Sandler movies.
You
You
can
can
do
do it.
it. I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't, but I
Yeah,
guess whatever. It's a little bit different.
yeah. Um, no, I really enjoy the writing in this. I love the songs. Although, pretty much any time you get Adam Sandler writing a song, it's a
Yeah,
hit.
Adam Sandler does have a really good for like comedy musical writing, and like even some of the parts of the songs that weren't comedic.
Like the song that him and Jennifer sing, the duet,
Yeah, like
as
if you
yeah,
take Whitey's part out of the song, like it's a very legit like this goes with writing is the musical
yeah,
a part of
yeah,
it and like honestly looking at this movie, it is structured and is a couple steps away from what a lot of snobs or snooty people may say as like it hits all the check marks for being a legitimate like actual musical, not just like a movie that has singing parts in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It like a lot of the composition is like okay, some of it seems forced because like he's doing his because like when in Adam Sandler's songs he always does like really goofy rhyming schemes and everything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, but like that's just his style and it goes into the movie. But that part with him and Jennifer, I also think like I think it's the opening song where he's like doing the chase with the snowmobile and everything.
Yeah.
Like that part is like I hate love, I hate you,
I
I
hate
hate me.
me.
And I think that's a very good song.
It's
Like
a great song.
when he does the chorus part of it, it really like he does it well. And that is something that you don't 100% expect out of a movie like this. A lot of people see an Adam Sandler movie and they're expecting all the goofy knockout comedy and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, and yes, you get that, but then you get that, and yes, it has some goofy factors to it, but the points where it's not goofy is good.
I
At least I think it is.
Yeah, I think this movie more than any other Adam Sandler movie, and like every Adam Sandler movie has heart, but this movie has the most heart, like period. I was watching it again. It kept hitting me like straight in the feels, and I just the whole movie. I don't know. I don't like relate to Davy in the way that like, oh, I lost somebody, so I'm a bah humbug. But I relate to Davy in the fact that I'm kind of a bah humbug. This movie has a lot of emotion that a lot of people wouldn't expect from an Adam Sandler movie. But I don't know, like thinking about it, a lot of Adam Sandler movies could be very emotional. Like if you didn't have Adam Sandler up there kicking around. Um,
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
I thoroughly enjoy not just like the jokes and the music, but just the story. Um, it's a classic story, and it's told in a way that reaches out to both parents and like younger teenagers,
Hmm.
and kind of just reminds everybody of what this time of year is supposed to be about.
Oh, definitely. It checks those boxes for me as well. With that, you want to move on to you want to say acting?
Yeah, let's go into acting. We can talk about some crazy stuff in acting, like the fact
Yeah.
that technical foul is just Adam Sandler talking to himself.
And going back to like a musical, when it gets to that end note where all three of them are, I understand they recorded them separately, but the way it sounds like a very like legitimate, hard to do musical number. That like if I saw that on stage, I'd be like,
Yeah,
you guys did that, and it sounds really good too. Kudos to the fucking editor on that,
yeah.
and to Adam Sandler. He played Davy, Whitey, Eleanor, and he also voiced the deer, which is always funny because if you listen really close to the
You can
deer,
hear them. They sound
they're
kind of like
saying
Whitey.
kind of in the same sense.
It's that
Um,
like on SNL, anytime anybody impersonates Adam Sandler, they do the
yeah,
and
in a sense.
that's what the deer sound like.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And like obvious, I honestly like looking at the cast list. Um, it wasn't just Adam Sandler whose character looked like him. Like
No,
Kevin Nealon's character, the mayor, sort of looked like him. Like
well, and Jennifer
John,
looks like Jackie.
yeah, and John Lovitz, Tom Balthazar, kind of looks like him
Yeah,
too. It's like a lot of those characters, especially since those are a lot of people that he's worked with for years and years and years. Like they it seemed very easy for them to be able to deliver like what needed to be delivered for those characters.
yeah, yeah. And like I think really the only one whose character doesn't look like who doesn't have a character that looks just like them would be Rob Schneider.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, because
because
he's the
yeah, his
narrator, and then
character is
literally the character is marked as Chinese waiter here at
yeah.
IM. They didn't even give him a name,
Nope.
so
I love the gags every time somebody throws a wig and he finds the wig.
Yeah, and like it, obviously this is just like one of those movies where it feels like the actors, how could they not have had a good time like doing it?
Right? Especially if like any of them were in the booth together. Uh
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
when you're doing an animation, you try and get scene partners in the booth together. Um
Uh-huh.
and so just like literally any time people were in the booth together,
So
that
Adam
would have been
Sandler's just
crazy.
standing in this booth for like 20 hours a fucking day while everyone else comes in and
Basically.
out.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. I would. It would be so hard at first for me to keep my shit while he does the Whitey or Eleanor voice. It just, it just so crazy.
I want to
Like,
work with him
especially.
someday, just so
Well,
that I can
yeah.
have that experience of like, yeah, no, Adam Sandler was dicking around the whole time, and I had to keep a straight face. Me, the crazy one.
there, there's a lot of actors like that. Mine personally is like Jack Black.
Oh,
Like,
dude, I would die
yeah,
if I had to work with
because
Jack
I
Black.
saw some
That would be
behind the scenes
amazing.
footage of the last Jumanji movie,
Yeah.
and like he and the Rock and Kevin Hart were just like fucking around all the time, and Karen Gillian was she joined in on the fun too, but like all four of them was kind of just like a crazy recipe for disaster in the
Yeah.
behind the scenes. But like yeah, Adam Sandler is one of those actors where like I it is kind of unfortunate that the last handful of years he seemed to have been in some sort of slump. On to the next subject. I mean, setting. This felt like middle of America, like suburban town.
Yeah.
Like it obviously was a little bit larger than average for it to have a mall, and especially a mall of like that size. That was like a four-story, huge, gigantic mall. A lot of people can relate to this town. Like you always have the neighbors that go above and beyond for the holidays. Probably not. Well, maybe some people actually do very much go as crazy as Whitey and Eleanor do. Like they go in there, they have 10 snowmen, a Santa, fucking reindeer everywhere. The house is
Did
lit
you
up.
look at what some of those decorations actually were? He's got like a broom decorated to be like a person.
Yeah, and some of them were pretty funny and homemade, obviously. But like you can see a lot of those people, like a lot of
Yeah, I get you what you were
that.
meaning now.
Yeah, and like in the sense of like let's say Whitey as a character, you probably know one or a handful of people who are kind of like Whitey in the sense that they go around. Maybe they're more likely they're older and retired, and they know people. They say hi to everyone. Everybody knows them.
And they're just a little
Like,
off. Maybe not
yeah,
as
sometimes they're,
off as Whitey, but just a little off.
yeah, but like, yeah, and it's like them being a little off doesn't make them a bad person or doesn't
No.
make anything. But like, you know, a lot of these people and a lot of these things, and like setting wise, it's very much. I could see myself like being like, yeah, I can see that. I can relate to that a
Dude,
little bit.
shit, I could look at our hometown and just point out everybody from this movie in where we grew up.
Especially in small towns where people are like they crank the judge mentality and the like
Yeah, I mean they
and
like for some
and the
reason I don't know why, but like I guess now that I'm living in a bigger city, I do meet crazier people. But it's like so many crazier people that it just doesn't bother me as much. But like
yeah.
when I was living in small town Utah, I would meet people and they would just immediately fall into some sort of stereotype. And it wasn't like I was putting them in this stereotype. I'd be sitting there like talking to them and then all of a sudden be like, "Oh no, you are just this stereotype." Like that's
Yeah.
I can guess the next 5 things you're going to say.
In a sense, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Um and I wonder if like there's a mentality around small towns that kind of brings that out in people. Like they're in a small place, they feel like they're being judged, and so they just start acting in the way that they think people are seeing them, instead of like in a city you kind of meld into the background and so you can just be you.
Hmm.
uh Yeah, no, setting. I really love the setting. It just feels good. Kind of on the topic of setting and location and everything. That scene where they walk into the mall and Whitey is just naming product after product after product.
Yeah,
They didn't have permission to use any of
I
those
was wondering.
products.
That was a question that I had. I like that's a question I've always had. But rewatching it, the question popped up again, and I was
Hmm.
just like, he's naming all these actual businesses, and it's like, do we like? I'm like, what did he have to go through to do that? And he just didn't have permission.
Not they just did it. They just they did it, and then I don't think there was a lawsuit afterwards. I think there was some reconciliation, and they worked it all out. Um, Especially since this movie, like for being an Adam Sandler movie at the height of Adam Sandler, this one kind of fell under the radar for a lot of
It did.
people. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
and I mean, I'm just like looking at the scores and reviews on here. Um, it didn't rate well with a lot of people. So I'm sure a lot of those companies were just kind of like, okay. But yeah, they didn't have any permission. They just did it. And then when asked why, they were like, well, it's better sometimes to ask forgiveness than permission. And I was like, oh damn.
And it's kind of crazy too because like again, like if you look up Hanukkah movies, like a simple Google search, there's like a Hallmark movie,
Yeah.
um, and like second or first usually when it's shown is this movie. It's Eight Crazy Nights, and like looking at a lot of other things, like basically it shows a lot of other Jewish movies, but none of them are specifically Hanukkah or holiday themed.
Right? Like Little Fockers is on there.
Yeah, yeah, little
And that takes
Fockers on it,
place
and
like
like
in May, doesn't it? It's summer.
I have honestly no idea. I can't remember. But then it's like it quickly delves into like an American Tale and then Fiddler on the Roof, like
Yeah.
obviously like heavily Jewish themed movies, but like anything to actually do with Hanukkah? Like what?
Yeah.
Like especially modern day Hanukkah. And like again, some of the stuff they get away with, I misremembered and I thought this movie was rated R.
Yeah, no, it's PG-13,
It
right?
is PG-13, and I'm like, holy crap, the stuff they get away with in this, and then like obviously they got away with using those branding names without permission.
Yeah.
Jesus, like that's crazy to me. Thinking that, but a lot of times it's like it's almost under that producer's mentality where it's like if it's a flop, no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like because it wasn't as popular because it was raunchier in a lot
Yeah.
of areas than a lot of the Adam Sandler movies that people go and see. Even though like I say this is probably on par with like Little Nicky in a sense.
Yeah,
Um,
Little Nicky and like Wedding Singer.
yeah.
I think
Um,
Davy Stone is very much a cruder Robbie Hart.
yeah, definitely, definitely. But with that, it just like yeah, it fell under the radar later, and like I don't think you saw a surgence of it until at least several years later.
Yeah. I
And
don't know. I always kind of followed it because I saw it when it
yeah,
came
well,
out and I
he, my
thoroughly
thing
enjoyed
too,
it.
I remember seeing this like it had to have been close to when it released.
Yeah.
And like I quoted it all the time, like fucking 10-year-old me quoting this Eight Crazy Nights movie all the time and
Hmm.
like it would be so funny. And then one time I remember vividly watching this on TV and it was on like it was either TBS or USA. So some of the stuff was edited a little bit.
Uh-huh.
When he sings the song like bullshit and he's like in this house we say bull spit,
Yeah.
and I'm watching with my friends and I'm just like okay, and then he says bullshit but they edit it to say something else, but they chose not to edit the next line to make it rhyme, so it was just completely wrong. And I'm like what the heck is going on here, what?
That's
And
funny.
that's just memories, and that was fucking 15 years ago. Jesus, like this movie is
Yeah.
reaching its 20th anniversary here in a couple years,
Yeah.
and to me, like this never like this hit my radar, and yeah, it hit like because yeah, I am a fan. Because when Adam Sandler hits his stride, I love it. I enjoy it. Like Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, The Water Boy. Like obviously all those
Dude, even
came
all the
within.
way up to the first Grown Ups. I will
I
back
mean,
him all the way up to the first
yeah,
Grown Ups
yeah,
and
definitely.
like a couple since. Like I really thoroughly enjoyed Just Go With It and Blended. Um
Though yeah, was
oh and
Blended the one we watched?
Blended with him and Drew Barrymore and they're on
Yeah,
vacation.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I enjoyed that one. That one they didn't go too crazy with it. It felt like just another like in a sense it was a romantic comedy. Like
Yeah, I mean
it wasn't as sappy as a lot of other romantic comedies because it had the Adam Sandler feel to it, but it was a very down to earth
yeah.
romantic comedy and I enjoyed that. And
Well, and
like
any time you get Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore on a
yeah,
set together, it's going to be basically a romantic comedy.
yeah,
Um,
and it works. Like I honestly, the scripts they write for those two being together, it works.
yep. I don't know. I haven't seen Pixels. I kind of refused.
I watched most of Pixels, and to be perfectly honest, it was just the concept just didn't work for me. It just was like okay, and it was a little too crazy and over the top, especially to think I can't think of Adam Sandler and his crew of like his actors that he always works with being people that save the world, even if it's through video games. Like if they it's just like these dopey middle-aged men doing their normal humor and then it's like, "Oh, here's some video game stuff." And like it was supposed to feel dated too because it was like
Yeah.
80s video games and stuff like that. Um but like it just the concept fell flat for me. But like I was mentioning all those movies, including this movie, is because like you look at that, and then a lot of people really define his whole career over those movies, like
Oh
Happy
yeah.
Madison Productions, like literally in the name, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison,
Yep.
like the like you look at that and like the opportunities that Adam Sandler has not only provided for himself now like writing and producing movies but like that core group of people, the people that he was on Saturday Night Live with, the people that he's made friends with along the way too, that group of people, like he is faithful to those people.
Oh yeah.
He knows what they can do and and he probably is like, hey man, are you busy, you're working right now? It's like, oh well no. It's like, well, you want to come do a movie with me and everything. And like to have that is almost kind of the sense of what I kind of want us
Yeah.
like to have that to where eventually like even if it because obviously like Rob Schneider's had some success and everything too, but I don't think he's had as much success as Adam Sandler. It's kind of hard. Like I'm not trying to knock on him, but I think Adam Sandler of all those people is
The most
the
successful.
the tip of the spear, but
Yeah.
he manages to bring everyone else with him because he's like, no, these people like they help mold my comedy. They support of me. They're my friends.
Yeah,
Like I'm not going.
I think it what it yeah. Adam Sandler brings the people that treated him well up with him. Um and I think Adam Sandler knows how to make movies really well. His stand up is fucking awesome too, but like he's specialized in movies and that storytelling. Um and a lot of the people that he brings with him are much better at the stand up um than like making movies. And so if they don't have that kind of Adam Sandler movie to be in, the movie doesn't really work out as well because the story's not there for their stand up to actually shine.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, this was Adam Sandler in his stride. I'm not sure why it was so. I don't know. Maybe people thought it was supposed to be a kids movie.
Well, that's always kind of a pitfall of animated movies.
Yeah.
Like because people like Disney is the biggest perpetrator in this, where like all of their movies are kid and family friendly, and so
Hmm.
like when another studio puts out a not family friendly animated movie, people just look at that and they're like, oh, that's going to be a kid movie. It kind of is the same pitfall, and again, technically Disney's fault again. When Deadpool first came out, people
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, it's just going to be another superhero movie," and then people were like, "Do you not know anything?
They were
Read the
so
sign."
mad.
And it's like, and then the people came out like, "My kid, like, I just want my kid to see Deadpool. This movie, we should edit this movie to be PG-13." And then as a joke and for charity, like a year and a half later,
Oh, it was longer than that.
no, because the second movie came out and they did the PG-13 version of the second movie
No, 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 no. The PG-13 version came out the winter after the second movie came out.
of the first
Yeah.
movie. Okay, but off topic, like stuff like that, people have the and Elena, she mentioned it because she's so into like animation and everything like
Hmm.
that. Whereas like that's a very American thing because apparently
Oh
over in
yeah.
like the United Kingdom, like they have adult jokes just seated in a lot of their animation,
Well, it's like
and they're like, well, are your kids getting the adult jokes? Well, they might. Well, then whose fault is it for teaching them what that means? Like,
well,
whose
and
fault?
who's I think the problem also kind of comes in like, why are you making that a bad thing? It's a joke. So if they
Yeah,
do know, if you have taught them this thing and they know that,
that's true.
then why
Yeah,
make it a bad thing? You taught them this, so it shouldn't be
it's like,
bad. It
yeah, oh,
shouldn't be
this
taboo
person,
or negative.
this person makes a joke about like the three boobed woman, like in it, and that joke, I think that followed the no pun intended, the rule of three in the comedy thing, where
Hmm.
I think there was 3 points where she was mentioned, and it's like, oh, what is that? Are they insulting her? No, they're actually technically praising her. Like
Yeah.
it's like they're like it's like what part of this is like something that we should be offended of? They're not body shaming her. They're just saying like, hey, there's some an interesting. You don't see that, do you? And for me, when you like, I feel like one of the worst parts when you're raising a kid is to constantly tell them cut and dry thing, black and white things are wrong and right.
Yeah.
And that movies like this, like this show, it's just like, yeah, it's a PG-13 movie. There is some crude humor in that, and like there's a reason that the rating system exists. So like, if you don't want your sub 13-year-old to watch this, okay,
Yeah.
don't let them watch this. But if you do, then and they go in and then they repeat the joke, or there's a joke in it that you're like, oh, I don't like the idea of him seeing this. It's like, then talk to your kid.
Yeah.
Tell your kid, hey, listen, this I consider this wrong because of this. Tell them it's like, hey, that wasn't right. That's not how you should treat a person or anything like that. But like again, if you look, all the stuff, all the jokes, especially around Davy, like
Hmm.
Davy's not a person that people should emulate.
No.
Like at the end where he does that one heroic deed, like that doesn't absolve him for his sins. That doesn't absolve him for literally freezing an elderly old man, like for shoving
20
him down in a
years of
porta
being a
potty.
jackass.
Yeah, for him like stealing, thievery, like literally, like he was on the edge of going to prison for his accumulative fucking sins for 10 years. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy. And if you have a problem like, oh, he did this joke, and I'm like, oh yeah, well tell your kid, hey, Davy's not a good person. Look at him. He's not a very good person. He seems to go on a road to being a better person,
Yeah.
but he's not a good person throughout this entire movie.
Yeah. No, he's not. Um, so we've covered theme, we've covered writing, we've covered character, we've covered setting. We kind
Yeah.
of covered music. I think the actual music, not just like the lyrics, but like the sound behind everything.
Oh yeah, I remember when they like the credits rolled and they did the whole medley of like all the songs, and then it was just cut back to
The Hanukkah
their
song.
yeah, it cut to the Hanukkah song, and then there was just a little bit of like no vocal music that was throughout the
Hmm.
whole movie. And if you close your eyes and listen to that music, you think of, I think you obviously think more of Christmas, but you think of the holiday season when you think of that. Like it
Oh yeah.
very much fit the whole movie that in between all of the songs very much tied together that I actually didn't even notice it until it was just the credits and just playing in the credits. I'm like, oh crap, yeah, that was playing in the whole movie, but it
Yeah.
fits so well.
Yeah. No, they fit the music really well in here.
Hmm.
It almost felt like I was watching The Birds without any kind of soundtrack because the music felt like the
Yeah,
world was making it.
yeah, it felt like when you just sit back and it's like, oh, I didn't. It's like that. I didn't feel like there's not noticing the music because it's either bad or too subtle, or there's it mixing with the movie and being part of it and being
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I didn't think about it, but I was aware of it.
Yeah, no, it's a weird line to try and walk because, if you want the music to blend in such a way that it's good, but people don't realize the music is happening, um, you do have to make it a little more subtle, and you got to be really careful about like not making it too subtle or not making it too jarring for the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
like yeah, the movies where the music feels like this is just something you would hear as you were walking around in your everyday life. Um, I think those are the best kind of scored movies. Um, I don't ever want to go into a movie where I'm not expecting a bombastic score. Like if I go into a summer blockbuster like Pirates or a Marvel movie or Star Wars, um, then I'm expecting bombastic scores and I'm expecting the music to kind of lead me through the story because that's what we've been kind of bred to believe. But if I'm just watching like a regular movie, I want the music to feel like it's coming from the world and not like it's this ethereal thing that's just happening.
Definitely, I agree 100%.
All right, I think we've
So
talked about everything though. Is there anything else
I
you want
think
to
so
talk about?
too. I know. I think we've hit on every single point. There, obviously, like because it's an anime movie, we can't talk about some points like, oh, costuming. Oh my God, he was wearing a green jacket throughout every scene. Dear God.
The outfit that he's wearing in pretty much every scene is the exact same outfit that Miles Morales wears in Into the Spider-Verse. Except for Miles has shorts and not long pants.
Same universe. I'll have the listeners decide.
Davy Stone is friends with Miles Morales.
Wow, that is really funny. I didn't. Now I can't
I just
not see it.
I
Like
watched
holy
Into the
shit.
Spider-Verse tonight because it's my favorite Spider-Man movie. And I've been playing Miles Morales on the PlayStation, and so I was like, yeah, no, I want to watch Into the
Don't sue us,
Spider-Verse.
Sony. Well, with that, I think we can give it a score. How about
Yeah,
you
we
go
can give
first,
it a
Josh?
score. I love this movie. I think it's my top three favorite holiday movies, and watching it again just kind of solidified that. Uh, I always want to watch this movie, but don't always have the means, and so I was really glad to see that it was on Showtime and I could watch it. Yeah, the animation's really my only gripe. They put a lot of love and care into most of the animation, and so the places where it does get a little jumpy just kind of really bother me. Um, Other than that, though, I think the animation being a little jumpy here and there puts me at about just an A minus.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with the A minus. I I do love and enjoy this movie, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's close to, but it's not in my top holiday movies. But like I said, it's been pertinent throughout my entire life, and like a lot of my jokes, like Adam Sandler in general has like forged a lot of way of my jokes.
I feel
So
I feel a couple weeks ago we talked about the Pirates Band of Misfits being exactly your humor. I feel Adam Sandler is a lot more your humor. Like Band of Misfits was a lot, and I could see a lot of it, but Adam Sandler's like a perfect
listen,
ringer for your humor.
Billy Madison, which is my favorite Adam Sandler movie. Um, like I remember the first time I ever watched, and just suddenly, for no rhyme or reason, he breaks into fucking song like 3/4 of the way through the movie,
When he's
and
on the
it's just
staircase?
yeah, and it's just like a song he like sings with all the kids. He like talks about her boobs, and it just ends with "Do you have any more gum, more gum, more gum?" And I'm just like, what is happening? I'm just thinking to myself like, oh my god, I love this so much. Like,
No,
and then
yeah,
they
Billy
don't
Madison,
fucking reference it like ever again. It just
ever.
happens.
No, Billy Madison, I think, was super important to a lot of people's humor, especially people our age that like grew up in the '90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
Um, because it was just, yeah, every time I think of Adam Sandler, I immediately go to Billy Madison when he's sitting in the tub at the beginning.
Quit looking at me, Swan.
Quit looking at me, Schwan. It's just that's the kind of thing that I find funny anyway, and I'm pretty sure it's his fault.
I have to find. I need to rewatch that movie. I need to fucking. It's been a long time since I've seen that one. So.
Well, I own it.
Oh.
I own it.
Sometime maybe in the future, Billy Madison.
Sometime maybe in the future, I would be down. Let's do a month
Who
of Adam
knows?
Sandler movies.
A month of fucking.
We'll do
Oh,
two old ones and two new ones.
okay. Sometime in the future, folks.
Probably like
This-
March.
The Sandler Cinematic Universe.
Sandler
Coming to
Cinematic Universe. Where every down on his luck dude looks exactly the same.
Listen, man. If you think about it, they're all canonically in the same universe.
Yeah, yeah. It's true. It's true.
It's true. They're all in different parts of the world, so they could all be happening at the same time.
Yep. But so yeah, we give this movie an A minus.
Yep.
I think it got panned by a lot of critics and has some ratings that it doesn't deserve. I think it definitely deserves more than 5.5 fucking stars out of 10. But yeah, no, I think this deserves more than it gets. But that animation just kind of puts it one step lower than I normally would have put it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think we can just say goodbye now, right? I don't know. Zach's not here to tell us what to do.
Well, folks, with that, I hope you're having a nice time out there. And I want you to like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. Have a happy Hanukkah, guys, and a good holiday season.
Yeah, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, whatever holiday, or maybe if you don't celebrate the holidays, just
have a good time.
Be kind to one another. Yeah, have a good time. Because remember, folks, we're here for a good time, not a long time.
All right. You can find us on Facebook at 410 Horsemen, Twitter at 410 Horsemen, Instagram at 410 Horsemen, now Reddit at 410 Horsemen.
Jesus.
And YouTube at 410 Horsemen. Yeah, I'm getting into that Reddit market now. We gotta broadcast ourselves.
Yeah, send me some Reddit gold.
All right, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.